In beautiful Point Loma. I'm here with my big brother Paulo on guitar, and our parents are here, and our community members are here, some cousins, so it's a family affair. I'm very excited today for many reasons, but I want you guys all to give a warm San Diego Portuguese community welcome to Steve Swash. He is our guest musician here on Guitarra Portuguesa. Lives in Hilmar, if I'm not mistaken, with his beautiful family. And I had the privilege of doing a show with Steve 2 Marches ago already at a Michelin star restaurant called Uma Casa in San Francisco. And he was on vacation with his family here in San Diego, so I piggybacked on his vacation. I said, "You want to play some Fado?" He said, "Sure." So with that said, I'm also very grateful to the Portuguese market. They made this happen for us very last minute. I had another venue booked, and that didn't work out, and Therese and her team have totally come through for us. And with that said, I'll kind of go over a little bit of housekeeping. So this is a dinner show, which means it's not just going to be sit and listen the whole time. There's going to be some songs, there's going to be some storytelling, and there's also going to be eating and drinking and laughing and talking. So we'll do a couple songs at a time, take a break for your salad, and etc., etc. For those of you that are not familiar with our Portuguese hall, the restrooms, the closest restrooms is going to be outside this door to my right-hand side. You'll find them there. I only ask that you please do that in between songs or during the dinner service. Just because I like to do the storytelling and the songs themselves are stories, so I would prefer limited movement during the songs. We will also have members, not members, they're volunteers. They're giving of their unpaid time to help us, but members of the committee here of the Portuguese market, they're going to be serving and popping in and out. So if you need anything from them, please ask. I understand coffee and water is free. You have menus there if you want any wine, and your dinner has already been paid, and I think that's all the housekeeping we have. So with that said, I'll move on to my specialty, which is the music part, not specialty, but my interest here, I suppose. I'm really excited to be starting a series of Fado dinner shows here in San Diego. For those of you that have had the privilege of seeing a Fado show in Lisbon, traditionally it's these mom and pop shop taverns with tall arches and stone walls. And all the food tastes like grandma's home cooking, and they're just very simple restaurants. And then in a dark corner you have anywhere from 3 to 5 guitar players and a singer, typically a woman, just belting our heart out. No amplification whatsoever. I have a microphone now so that I don't have to shout to you during these talking points, but as you can see, these gentlemen here are not linked up to any amplification, and we're going to try to be as close to a Fado tavern style show as possible. I'll be talking a little bit more throughout the night about Fado and culture. I just don't want you to get too sick of me. So, as Fado tradition would have it, I would like to start our program with an instrumental, and we're going to be featuring our wonderful guitar players. Again, my brother Paulo de Rosa on viola and Steve Swash on Guitarra Portuguesa. To do it. Fado is the word, it comes from the word fate. Fado is a style of music very particular to Portugal. It started in the 1800s as a working class style of expression. And it talked about love and loss and life and work. But not all sad things. It also talked about the beauty of our culture and our food and our people. And so this next song is a song you may have heard before, and it's very much that. It celebrates all of the smells that just remind you of Portugal. I always joke with my family that mine is the mothballs from my abuela's closet in the islands to keep the humidity away. But there are many other wonderful smells that remind me of the Azores and Portugal. And in this song, we don't talk about mothballs. But for those of you that don't speak Portuguese, it's mostly about food and drink and the rosemary that you smell during the religious festivals, and then it gets a little bit more poetic about, you know, the love in the air and all of that good stuff. So since we are about to start our dinner service with your first salad course, I thought it might be fun to do a little play with smells and tastes and sounds. This is Cheira a Lisboa.
Já tem sol, mas cheira a lua quando nasce a madrugada sorrateira e o primeiro elétrico da rua faz cor com chinelas da ribeira. Se chove, cheira a terra prometida, procissões têm um cheiro a rosmaninho. Nas tascas das vielas mais escondidas cheira a iscas, moelas e a vinho. Um cravo numa água furtada cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. Uma rosa florir na tapada cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. A fragata que se ergue na proa, a varina que teima em passar cheiram bem porque são de Lisboa. Lisboa tem cheiro de flores e de mar. E o fado cheira sempre a solidão, cheira a castanha assada se está frio, cheira a fruta madura quando é verão. Nos lábios tem o cheiro de um sorriso, manjerito tem o cheiro de cantigas, e os rapazes perdem o juízo quando lhes dá o cheirinho a raparigas. Um cravo numa água furtada cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. Uma rosa florir na tapada, todo cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. A fragata que se ergue na proa, a varina que teima em passar cheiram bem porque são de Lisboa. Lisboa tem cheiro de flores e de mar. Todos juntos. Cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. Outra vez, cheira bem, cheira a Lisboa. A fragata que se ergue na proa, a varina que teima em passar cheiram bem porque são de Lisboa. Lisboa tem cheiro de flores e de mar.
We're going to take a little break now so you can finish your appetizers. We're going to bring the salad course out, enjoy your drinks and each other's company, and we'll do a few more songs in a few short minutes. Okay? Enjoy. All right. How was your salada, everybody? Good. It smelled so good, so fresh. Wonderful. All right. Please continue to keep enjoying your salad if you have it in your drinks. The boys and I are going to do a few more songs for you before your main course. Again, if you guys need to use the restroom, the best one here is out this side door. We just ask that you do it between songs. And if you could silence your phones too in the middle of songs, that would be great too. I'm going to start this next batch with a fado that is one of my personal favorites. I think this song is really cheeky and really smart, and I've never heard lyrics like it. I think it's very original. And I have several songs that we are performing tonight from Amalia Rodrigues. Many of you may know she was a bit of the matriarch of the Fado genre. Not the only. We have songs from other wonderful artists that were big movers and shakers in the Fado world. But Amalia definitely is synonymous with Fado. You see her face, her attitude, her image is very much associated with Fado. I'm told in her later years she was very outspoken and smoked and drank and said whatever she wanted and had a girl, you know. And this song is, kind of reminds me a little bit of that because it says, there's somebody I like, but I'm not gonna tell you. And it's called Nem as paredes confesso, which means not even to the walls will I confess. So here's my favorite song, Nem as paredes confesso.
Não queiras gostar de mim sem que eu te peça, nem me des nada que eu fiz eu não mereça. Vê se me deitas depois culpas do rosto. Isto é sincero, porque não quero dar-te um desgosto de quem eu gosto. Nem às paredes confesso que até aposto que não gosto de ninguém. Podes sorrir, podes mentir, podes chorar também de quem eu gosto. Nem às paredes confesso. Quem sabe se te esqueci ou se eu te quero. Quem sabe até se é ti por quem eu espero. Afinal, isso é comigo. Mesmo que penses que me convences, nada te digo de quem eu gosto. Nem às paredes confesso e até aposto que não podes sorrir, podes mentir, podes chorar também de quem eu gosto. Nem às paredes confesso. Podes sorrir, podes mentir. pode chorar também de quem eu gosto, nem às paredes confesso.
All right. This next one we're doing is probably stylistically the most different from all of our selections for the evening. It's called Fado de outrora, which means Fado from another time. And the singer, she goes back to Moraria, which is called the birthplace of Fado. And she's not very happy with what she finds. She says that this is not what I know to be Fado. It's no longer Fado anymore. So she's a bit of a traditionalist. And I wanted to do this one now because we also talk about one of the other matriarchs of Fado, Maria Severa. You'll hear her name mentioned in this song. And in a very cheeky way, after singing a song about how things are not the way they used to be and everything's changing, after that we'll do a very, very modern Fado. So we're all over the spectrum here. A little bit later, Steve is going to share with us some of his knowledge that he has about different forms of Fado and the guitar that he's playing. So this is definitely an educational journey of sorts. But here is Fado de outrora.
Não vi fadistas nem fado, desde a Grácia até à Guia. Não vi fadistas nem fado, desde a Grácia até à Guia. Foi ali onde a Severa cantou o fado e viveu. Mas o fado dessa era morreu quando ela morreu. Mas o fado dessa era morreu quando ela morreu. Em volta da capelinha da Senhora da Saúde. Em volta da capelinha da Senhora da Saúde. Esses tempos que lá vão não voltam à moraria. Esses tempos que lá vão não voltam à moraria.
the Karen of Fados, where she says nobody does it the way it used to be, and we go now to a more modern Fado. A lot of people associate modern Fado with Marisa, and we will be doing some of her songs tonight. This next one is a fun tune by Ana Moura, who's a young Fado singer, and I just think it's a really fun play on words. What Fado is, what Fado isn't. What's the difference? As long as we pay homage to it, it's all beautiful, no matter what form it's in. So this is Dish Fado.
Quero o destino que eu não creia no destino, e o meu fado é nem ter fado nenhum. Cantá-lo bem, sem sequer o ter sentido, senti-lo como ninguém, mas não ter sentido algum. Ai que tristeza esta minha alegria, ai que alegria esta tão grande tristeza. Esperar por um dia que eu não espero mais um dia, por aquilo que nunca vem e que aqui esteve presente. Ai que saudade que eu tenho de ter saudade, saudades de ter alguém que aqui está e não existe. Senti-me triste só por me sentir tão bem, alegre, senti-me bem só por eu andar tão triste.
Anda!
Ai se eu pudesse não cantar, ai se eu pudesse e lamentasse não ter mais nenhum lamento, talvez ouvisse no silêncio que fizesse uma voz que fosse minha, cantar a quem cá dentro. Ai que desgraça esta sorte que me assiste, ai mas que sorte eu viver tão desgraçada. Na incerteza de nada mais certo existe, além da grande certeza de não estar certo de nada. Ai que saudade que eu tenho de ter saudade, saudades de ter alguém que aqui está e não existe. Sinto-me triste só por me sentir tão bem, alegre, sinto-me bem só por eu andar tão triste. Ai que saudade que eu tenho de ter saudade, saudades de ter alguém que aqui está e não existe. Sinto-me triste só por me sentir tão bem, alegre, sinto-me bem só por eu andar tão triste. Anda!
All right, my friends, I'm gonna go check and see if we're ready for our next course. And in the meantime, I thought, Steve, maybe you could introduce yourself to our wonderful community. And maybe since I talked about different styles of Fado, the old versus new, modern versus traditional, you could talk about Lisbon versus Coimbra, or anything you feel inspired to share.
Awesome.
Steve, everybody.
Okay. Hello, I'm not used to talking into a microphone. Usually I'm just talking. Do you guys hear me? If I just talk like this, I'm more comfortable talking like this. Okay. Anyway, so my name is Steve. I actually play the Portuguese guitar. I've been playing this instrument for quite a while now. I started in 2016. I got into Portuguese music, not playing specifically not playing mainland music, but specifically Azorian music, or Azorian traditional music, mainly in Pico, Terceira, and São Jorge. So we started as a bunch of young kids in Hilmar, and we all play stringed instruments, and then typically what we always said is going into Fado was the level up. It's a little bit more complicated music with lots of chords and lots of singing that's typically involved. And so anyways, I've been playing music since I was about 13 years old. And I'm 30 now, so that's doing the math, 17 years. But the Portuguese guitar, I've been at 9 years. So that's who I am. she wanted me to talk about specifically Coimbra and Lisbon. And there's two different types of fado in mainland Portugal. The one that we've been playing tonight, and it's a very rhythmic fado, is Lisbon style fado, and that was traditionally in the tascas, and that people would do in the fado houses is always typically a female singer accompanied by a Portuguese guitar and a viola do fado that he's playing right here. And that's what you'd see in Lisbon. And in Coimbra, there's another style of fado that's played. We haven't played that today, but it's more of a ballad, and it's typically sung by a man, and not just one man, it's him and a chorus with like 10 different guys, and they'll be singing this ballad. It's a beautiful, slightly different type of fado. And in fact, when it comes to the Coimbra, they are so unique, they actually invented their own Portuguese guitar. So I'm actually playing a Coimbra guitar. It's slightly different than a Lisbon guitar. This guitar is slightly bigger than a Lisbon guitar. I actually have a Lisbon guitar over there. Maybe I can show you guys later. But this one has a spade, whereas the Lisbon has a caracol. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a violin, like the head of a violin. Anyways, that's the difference between a Coimbra guitar. A Coimbra guitar is tuned low, and when you play the Coimbra music, it's very... Whereas the Lisbon music, it's always like... I'm more playing around her voice. In fact, if I didn't play a single note, the song would always continue forward, because my friend here, he's doing all the work. He's the one that's the rhythm. He's the drum beat. So he plays and continues the song. If I just stopped, the song would always continue forward, because I'm just accompanying her with doing some runs off to the side, making the guitar cry is what they say.
It does sound like crying.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Steve.
Of course.
Yay! I told him I wanted him to teach you a little bit about the guitar, because we're going to feature our guitar players later. And I said, you know, Steve, this is like me in sports. I always enjoy it more when I understand what's going on. So I said, share some knowledge about fado and about the guitar, because then when people see you and hear you, they get it more. So with that, we're going to take another little break for your dinner service. Please enjoy, bon appetit, and we'll be back in a little while with some more fado. Okay? Enjoy. All right, my friends. Como estão? Comeram bem? How was dinner? Yes. I didn't eat, but it smelled amazing. So give it up for our wonderful volunteers in the kitchen, and for our servers that are giving them their unpaid time freely to help us today. Again, thank you to the hall and the Portuguese market for making this show happen very, very last minute. I'm so happy we were able to come together and make it happen, to bring Steve and come together and have some yummy food. So I hope you've enjoyed. Please continue to enjoy your meals and your drinks. We're going to continue our program. And then take our last break for your dessert service, okay? This next song I've chosen is one of the very first fados that I ever learned. I was very young when I started singing in cover bands, and I got my start here in our Portuguese hall with my godfather Zedward. He had a cover band, and I don't know, maybe it was a joke at the time to bring his little 13-year-old goddaughter on stage to sing oohs and ahs and backup vocals. And so every time I perform with him, I always say it's his fault that I'm a singer. He's not here today because he's enjoying his retirement in beautiful Pico Island. But this song always reminds me of him, and always in my heart I dedicate it to him, because he was a big player in in me being a singer today. So this song is called Tudo Isto é Fado.
Perguntaste no outro dia se eu sabia o que era o fado. Eu disse que não sabia e tu ficaste a delirar, sem saber o que dizia. Eu menti naquela hora. Eu disse que não sabia, mas vou-te dizer agora. Almas vencidas, noites perdidas, sombras bizarras. Mordia, cantam rufia, choram guitarras. Amor, ciúme, cinzas e lume, dor e pecado. Tudo isto existe, tudo isto é triste, tudo isto é fado. Se queres ser o meu senhor e tens-me sempre ao teu lado, não me falas só de amor, fala também de fado. É a canção que é meu castigo, só nasceu para me perder. O fado é o que eu digo, mas o que não sei dizer. Almas vencidas, noites perdidas, sombras bizarras. Moradia, cantam rufia, choram guitarras. Amor, ciúme, cinzas e lume, cor e pecado. Isto existe, tudo isto é triste, tudo isto é fado. Amor, ciúme, cinzas e lume, cor e pecado. Isto existe, tudo isto é triste, tudo isto é fado. Tudo isto existe, tudo isto é triste, tudo isto é fado.
Obrigada. Sorry, I didn't translate that one for you for my friends who don't yet speak Portuguese. Thank you. Because there's always a possibility, right?
You do lessons, right?
I do lessons. Thank you for the plug, because I was going to do that. I was a little shameless, but I did not pay him. But yes, I teach lessons. I have one of my lovely Portuguese students here. Thank you for being here. Obrigada. This song, Tudo Isto é Fado. The title is literally All of This is Fado. So she gets a little poetic about what Fado means. And it does say some beautiful things. Lost nights. crying guitars, love, jealousy, fire, pain, sin, all of these strong feelings, all of these strong things, and that's all beautiful. But there's a part of it that's also, I am Fado too. Like she says in the second verse, if you want to be my man, and you want me by your side, don't just talk to me about love, talk to me about Fado. And it says that song is my burden, and it is in me. And Fado is everything that I'm saying and everything that I don't know how to say. So we'll see this theme come up again in actually in a couple songs here, where it's the lyricism is so cool. They do this really beautiful thing in Fado where they talk about love and loss and song and all of these things, but it's in all of us too. So that's a beautiful message that we'll see again later on. For now, we're going to feature our wonderful guitar players again on an instrumental. Steve earlier talked to you guys a little bit about the difference between the different types of Fado and the different types of guitars. And a really interesting piece of history to know about Fado is that Lisbon was and still is a major trading port. So within Fado, the fashion, the guitars, the style, you see so much influence from everywhere. You see Arabic influence, see and hear, European, even Asian. And so while this genre is very much our own, it's also telling a story of the past and where we've come to. So if I'm not mistaken, this song is very stylistically titled Variações em Ré, which means variations in D. I don't know, please feel free to chime in, Steve, if there's any other facts you'd like them to know about this song. Otherwise, take it away.
Okay. Yeah. Variations in D. Specifically, this guy named Fons Rosa, who was one of the great Portuguese guitarists from back in the day. This was his signature song. But when it comes to names of instrumentals, a lot of the Portuguese songs, it's variations in D, variations in Mi, or they just name it after the guy. So this is just variations in D by Fons Rosa. Okay.
All right. This next song is my first of two songs by Marisa that I'll do tonight. For those of you that don't know, Marisa is probably one of the better known Fado singers in modern day Fado. So she kind of made it popular again. As I mentioned, it started in the 1800s. There was a big Fado movement with Amalia and Maria Severa in the 40s, 50s, 60s, up until the revolution. And Marisa popped up and just made it a whole other thing. And now you have people like Ana Moura and Carmino in the movie Poor Things that's putting our culture on the map, and it's a beautiful thing. So this is a song that was actually, I love this song, I think it's beautiful, but I was always too afraid to sing it. And there's a gentleman, his name is Richard Miller. He's a Brazilian guitar player that I actually started this Fado project with. He was playing his 7-string viola, and he was the first Brazilian I've ever met that knew about Fado and enjoyed Fado. And we did one show together, and he was supposed to play Festa with me, and the night before our performance, he suffered a stroke and went to the hospital. He's fine, thank goodness, but he's going to be in rehab for the rest of the summer, and my brother totally came to my rescue and totally stepped up to the plate and learned all of these songs. And so my brother is very, very talented. He saved his baby sister, but even though he's not here, he's recovering from his stroke. I'm gonna dedicate this to Richard and his recovery, and thank him for challenging me and pushing me to do hard things, because he's the one that asked me to learn and sing this song. So here is Gente da Minha Terra.
É meu e vosso este fado, destino que nos amarra, por mais que seja negado às cordas de uma guitarra. Sempre que se ouve um gemido de uma guitarra a cantar, fica-se logo perdido, com vontade de chorar. Oh, gente da minha terra, agora que eu percebi esta tristeza que trago, foi vós que recebi. E pareceria a ternura se me deixasse embalar. É maior a amargura, menos triste o meu cantar. Oh, gente da minha terra,
Translate before the song. I'm sorry, Sharon. But that was another song that's very much like Tudo Isto é Fado. I was kind of offended when I first read the lyrics to this song because she's basically saying all of this sadness that I feel inside, it's because of you that I have it. But then you read into it a little bit more and it's called O Gente da Minha Terra. And it's like, hey, people from my land. And I realize that she's like, we are all one. Yep. We all share in sadness and in joy and all of those beautiful and sad things such as life. Yep. So with that, I will leave you for your, on that happy note, I'll leave you for your dessert break and then we will finish our program with our final 3 songs. So enjoy. We'll see you in a few short minutes. All right, my friends, we're gonna continue our program because while I appreciate everybody coming out on a Tuesday night, I understand that people have lives and bedtimes and responsibilities. Please continue to enjoy your desserts and your drinks. The boys and I are going to continue our program to make sure we get you home at a respectable hour. Do your thing. Real quickly, one last round of applause for our wonderful cooks and volunteers and servers. As I mentioned earlier, this show was supposed to happen at another venue, and things fell through. It became very, very last minute, and Therese and her team were so helpful and so kind, and they totally made it happen. So I'm grateful to them, and what a beautiful thing to host our out-of-town friend in our own home, our own Portuguese hall. So I'm grateful the way it turned out. Everything happens for a reason, right? All right, my friends. I ended our last little set with a very emotional song from Marisa. This next one is a more happy song from Marisa that I love to sing because there's a lyric in it that says Eu não sou fadista, which means I'm not a fado singer. And this has always kind of been my shtick with other musicians I've met in the fado world because, as many of you know, I grew up singing covers and top 40 and wedding bands and, you know, at the Portuguese hall. You know, I was never considered myself a fado singer. So this is a cheeky way of kind of giving homage to that. But to translate it for you, let me see here. Again, it's like what fado is. And she goes through all of these different analogies of what it is, what it represents, but at the end of the song, she ultimately says, Fado is me, and I am Fado. So a lot of similar themes there, but with a lot of beautiful imagery. And so this song is called Recusa. Let's have some fun.
Ser fadista é ser lua, é perder o sol de vista. Se ser fadista é ser lua, é perder o sol de vista. Se estátua que se insinua, então eu não sou fadista. Se estátua que se insinua, então eu não sou fadista. Ser fadista é ser triste, é ser lágrima prevista. Se ser fadista é ser triste, é ser lágrima prevista. Se por mago fado existe, então eu não sou fadista. Se por mago fado existe, então eu não sou fadista. Se ser fadista é no fundo uma palavra trocista. Se ser fadista é no fundo uma palavra conquista, roçando as bocas do mundo. Então eu não sou fadista, roçando as bocas do mundo. Então eu não sou fadista, mas se a partir à conquista de tanto verso ignorado, mas se a partir à conquista de tanto verso ignorado, então eu não sou fadista, eu sou mesmo o próprio fado. Então eu não sou fadista, eu sou mesmo o próprio fado.
Obrigada. Also, obrigada to whoever brought this little port wine here.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mind if I do. Cheers to you. Thank you all for being here. If you do have a beverage, please put it in your left hand. That's the one closest to your heart. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. And be kind to one another. And thank you again to these wonderful gentlemen for being here with me and my family for coming and supporting.
Cheers. Cheers.
If anybody wants some, holla at your girl. Should we do? I was gonna stop at 9 and it's 8:57, but would you guys be okay if we did 2 more? Okay. Awesome. I figure some of you are still enjoying your ice cream anyway, so. This song is also, along with Tudo Isto é Fado, this song is also one of the first Fado songs I learned, I suppose. But when it came out in the 90s, it was considered a pop song. This is actually, I learned later on in life, an old song of Amalia's that was made popular in the 90s by this Fado singer who's wildly talented. Her name is Dulce Pontes. So her, along with Marisa, kind of were singers in the 90s that kind of resurfaced Fado. And goes to show, because I didn't know the true history, just shows that sometimes these covers and these tribute songs that people do make people learn about the original version, right? So we're going to do the popular 90s cover of Amália Rodrigues' Solidão, which means loneliness. But this song is called Canção do Mar, which means Song of the Sea. So here we have a play on words between the ocean and love and all of those beautiful things. So here is Canção do Mar.
A luz sem par do teu olhar tão lindo. Quem saber se o mar terá razão. Vem cá ver, olhar meu coração. Se Fui bater no meu bater, além do mar cruel e o mar bramindo desespero. Fui roubar a luz sem mar do teu olhar tão lindo. Vai saber se o mar terá vai cá ver, vai lá meu coração. Se o não vou ao mar cruel e nem vivo. Fui cantar, sorrir, bailar, viver, sonhar contigo.
All right, my friends, this is going to be our last song. Thank you again so much for being here. And as some of you know, I'm kind of trying to start a new thing here, and I'm trying to do a series of Fado dinner shows. They're tavern-style, Lisbon-style dinner shows where I collaborate with different venues around San Diego, and they provide their food of choice, and we bring the Fado music. My first one was at a small Italian bistro in Hillcrest. Some of you were there. It was wonderful, and it was a wonderful experience, and I'm happy that the second one here is at home at our Portuguese hall, and I can hope that you guys, if you've enjoyed your experience tonight, will continue to support. Unlike most Portuguese communities throughout California, San Diego doesn't really have a lot of Fado show opportunities, and so while we don't have a wonderful guitarra portuguesa player like Steve here, we have so many other wonderful musicians. My talented brother, we have Mateo Camacho Beer, who plays mandolin, Richard, so much talent, and I hope to continue to collaborate with different talented musicians to provide more options for people in our community to enjoy Fado as well. So if you're not already connected with me, I have business cards. Please grab one. We also have a tip jar. Part of the ticket you paid tonight does go to compensate our musicians, but if you enjoyed your experience and you want to show some love, we do appreciate that if you feel so inclined. So our last song is probably one of the most famous Somalia songs, and I'm assuming a song that everybody here knows. And so I'm expecting that I've seen a few bottles of wine being purchased, so maybe there's enough liquid courage for you guys to sing along with us if you like. But in this song, Uma Casa Portuguesa, we go back to, I started my night talking about smells and the mothballs, and this is a little bit of that too. But we're talking about the smells in a Portuguese home. Even the first verse, in a Portuguese home, you know you're good. There's wine and bread on the table. And if somebody humbly knocks at your door, they sit at your table with you. Like, just that first verse is so Portuguese. Like, how many times have we been in the island and like, oh, there's Manel, vem tomar copo. Like, oh, come inside, come have a drink with us. It's so us. So this is a great song. Nice happy ending to a fun Tuesday night. So thank you again for being here. Here's Uma Casa Portuguesa.
Uma casa portuguesa fica bem, com um vinho sobre a mesa. E se à porta humildemente bate alguém, senta-se à mesa com a gente. Fica bem esta franqueza, fica bem, que o povo nunca desmente. E a alegria da pobreza está nesta grande riqueza de dar e ficar contente. Quatro paredes espalhadas, um cheirinho a alegria, um cacho de uvas doiradas, duas rosas no jardim, um São José de azulejo, mais o sol da primavera, uma promessa de beijo. Thank you. Dois braços à minha espera. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. É com certeza uma casa portuguesa. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. É com certeza uma casa portuguesa. No conforto e pauzinho do meu lar, há fartura de carinho. A cortina e a janela, o luar, mais o sol que bate nela. Basta pouco chego para lograr uma existência singela. É seu amor, pão e vinho e o cobre verde verdinho envergado na tigela. Quatro paredes caiadas, um cheirinho a alegria, um cacho de uvas doiradas, duas rosas no jardim, um São José de azulejo, mais o sol da primavera, uma promessa de beijos. Dois braços à minha espera. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. Uma casa portuguesa. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. É com certeza uma casa portuguesa. Quatro paredes caiadas, um cheirinho a alecrim, um cacho de uvas doiradas, duas rosas no jardim, São José de azulejo, mais o sol da primavera, uma promessa de beijos. Dois braços à minha espera. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. É com certeza uma casa portuguesa. É uma casa portuguesa, com certeza. É com certeza uma casa portuguesa.
Great job on the crowd participation. I love the kisses. Great focus. All right, my friends, that does it. Thank you again so much for coming and supporting our community and our and live music. If you guys have open tabs with the Portuguese market, please make sure you settle those before you go. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping. But if you don't mind, please, one more round of applause for my talented brother, Paulo Rosa. My name is Amanda DeRosa, born and raised right here in beautiful Point Loma. I'm so humbled and privileged to be here with you tonight. And please give a warm Point Loma round of applause for our special guest, Mr. C. Swatch. Muito obrigada. Be kind to each other every day, and we hope to see you again soon. Okay? Thank you so much.